there. Hi, good morning, everyone. This is Liz Davis. I am a nutritionist and I specialise in digestive health for busy women. So I help busy women fix their IBS symptoms, bloating, heartburn, hormone problems, anything else that's related to digestive health. And I do this with state-of-the-art testing and dietary upgrades, supplements, etc., to nicely bring everything back into balance for you and get you feeling really good again and energized and enjoying life as you should do. So I thought today I would just cast a bit of clarity over the whole gluten issue. So what's all this gluten about? Why do we need to avoid it? And you've probably noticed all these gluten-free products springing up all over the place and wonder if you should eat those instead of normal products, etc. So I'll just do a quick deep dive into what this is all about, what's the problem with gluten, and whether or not you should avoid it. And then at the end, I'll just give you a quick heads up about what to do if you think gluten actually is or potentially could be a problem for you. Okay, so firstly then, I'll do a rundown of 5 reasons, 5 things we need to be aware of about the whole gluten thing. So firstly then, gluten intolerance and celiac disease are 2 completely different things. So in the past, people may have gone to the doctor and complained of feeling like they had a problem with gluten. They would have been tested for celiac disease, which is a complete and utter allergy to gluten, and people with celiac can't eat gluten at all, not one speck of it ever, for they'd be in danger of getting some terrible symptoms then. So historically, that was what was tested for if you went to the doctor to complain of gluten intolerance or thought it didn't agree with you. If you came back negative, then you're given the all clear, that's fine, you can go and eat gluten as much as you like. However, more recently, people have been complaining a lot about getting symptoms that they suspect come from gluten, which have been proven one way or another. So now we have the category called non-celiac gluten sensitivity, which seems to affect an awful lot of people and seems to be linked into a lot of health conditions as well. Okay, so that's the difference between those two. So number 2 then, what are the signs you need to look for which indicate potentially that you could have a gluten sensitivity? Well, firstly, any kind of digestive problem. So bloating, constipation, diarrhea, heartburn, anything like that could well be linked to a sensitivity to gluten. If you've got a gluten sensitivity, it can give rise to leaky gut, the dreaded leaky gut. I've spoken a lot about this in the past, so do go and check out my other videos and blogs if you feel like leaky gut may be an issue for you. So that's kind of linked to a lot of autoimmunity, allergies, etc. Okay, you may have brain fog if you're intolerant to gluten. You may have mood changes, so you may be experiencing anxiety or depression, for example. You may have very low energy levels, and skin issues as well is something that crops up a lot. So dermatitis, eczema and stuff, that's kind of linked quite strongly into gluten as well. And so number 3, what's the next thing you need to be aware of? Well, the gluten can impact your microbiome negatively. So your microbiome being the balance of good and bad bacteria that you have in your digestive system, which helps keep you ticking over nicely, keeps you nice and healthy if it's in the right balance. If you don't have a good balance of good and bad bacteria there, then it could be because of gluten. Gluten could be impacting it, and then your bacteria levels can be then negatively impacting your health as well. So that's something to be aware of. So number 4 then, it's what you would need to do is look at your diet overall and your lifestyle overall. How much gluten are you eating? Are you eating gluten 3 times a day? Are you having it 3 times a day plus snacks? So for example, are you having toast for breakfast, sandwich for lunch, pasta for tea, a couple of biscuits as snacks in between? That could be a bit of more of a gluten overload situation. So you're just having too much gluten all day long. This can be a problem for some people. Some people can have a problem with it and only be eating it occasionally. So what we're looking at are overall patterns in the diet, and what is your nutrient intake like generally? What sort of state is your gut in, your microbiome in? This could be giving rise to problems. What's your immunity like, etc., etc. So it's all playing a part in how well you're tolerating or not tolerating gluten. So number 5 then, the other thing you need to be aware of is that gluten is actually an anti-nutrient. Lots of plant-based foods, or probably all plant-based foods actually, contain an element of anti-nutrients, and this is because the plants need to protect themselves from being eaten by the likes of us and other creatures. So they do tend to contain product or substances which are not supposed to do us the power of good. Basically, it's just their internal defense mechanism. So to varying degrees, all plant foods will contain these anti-nutrients, and gluten and wheat is, gluten is one that is contained in wheat, so it is designed not to be tolerated particularly well by us. If you tend to eat breads which are, sourdough based, that really helps to break down the gluten levels, the anti-nutrient levels, and it's much easier to digest, and a lot of people find that a lot easier. Okay then, so what do you need to do if you suspect gluten is a problem for you? Well, unfortunately, the only way to tell is to take gluten out of your diet totally, completely. Do that for a period of 2 to 4 weeks. Monitor your symptoms, see what happens. Are they improving? Are they not making any difference at all? Well, that is really the only way to tell, and it's quite hard to do because gluten, wheat, rye products, they're everywhere, and it kind of makes up the bulk of what we tend to eat. So it can be quite arduous trying to make these changes and get gluten completely out of your diet in order to see if you're actually gluten intolerant or not. But it can be done. People do it all the time, and it will soon tell you if you have gluten intolerance or not, because your symptoms will either be greatly improved or not make any difference at all. Okay, so that's just a quick rundown then of gluten, a few things you need to know, what to do if you think you're intolerant, and if you would like any help with managing a gluten intolerance, then do get in touch. I'll pop a link to my diary in the comments, so do book yourself in for a free call, and I can help you navigate this gluten-free arena. Okay, I shall see you next time then. Bye.